Just so you know, Russia's auto market collapsed in 2022, however, it may become an opportunity for rebirth. After the Russia-Ukraine conflict in February, foreign auto companies have accelerated their withdrawal from Russia, and the Russian auto market has entered an unprecedented vacuum state. The head of Russian automaker Avtovaz believes that new car sales in Russia are expected to be only 670,000 to 700,000 this year, which may not even reach a quarter of what it was a decade ago. In my opinion, there are two main reasons for the collapse of the Russian auto market. First of all, many car brands around the world have successively stopped production and export to the Russian market, and Russians have no cars to buy. The second is that the localization level of Russian automobiles is very low, and about 70% to 80% of the parts of passenger cars depend on imports. The blockade and stagnation of parts make it impossible for some OEMs to carry out effective production. In addition, when the country is in turmoil and various fields are facing risks, the people's confidence and ability to buy will be suppressed. Therefore, the collapse of the national auto industry and public confidence needs to be gradually rebuilt. In order to speed up the rebuilding process, some external forces may be needed. Therefore, it seems to me that the close moment of Chinese and Russian cars has come. This year is a year of rapid expansion for Chinese automobiles and also the first year of the rising sales of export. From South America to the Middle East and to Europe, Chinese automobiles have achieved good results. In fact, behind these much publicized achievements, there is another country whose auto market is slowly being taken over by China. According to Autostat, a Russian auto market analysis agency, Chinese cars accounted for about 33.4% of the total sales in the Russian market, setting a record high. Of course, this is only a short-term data of 7 days. From November 21 to 27, 2022, a total of 3,561 Chinese cars were sold in Russia, which is equivalent to about 1/3 of the total sales of the Russian auto market. So, what are the Chinese independent brands that are currently selling well in Russia? In fact, you must not know that China and Russia cooperate is getting more closely in the field of automobiles than purely import and export. So, is there any close cooperation between China and Russia in the automotive industry that the outside world does not know? Hi! Welcome to Auto Age. Before we started today's video, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Okay, let's get started. The most popular Chinese car brands in the Russian market include Chery, Haval, and Geely. Topping the sales charts for October is still Russia's market leader Lada, a car brand owned by Russian manufacturer Avtovaz. It has been in production since the Soviet Union in 1973 and was initially only sold domestically. In the next 20 years, the brand's automobile business spread all over the Soviet Union, Eastern European countries and China, and once became one of the symbols of urban life at that time. In 2016, Renault acquired the brand. Then this year, Renault sold the brand to the Russian government. Immediately afterwards, Haval climbed to the second place with sales of 4,400 vehicles, a year-on-year decrease of 7.8%. Sales of Chinese brands in Russia rose by 29% compared to September, while Lada fell by 7.2%. Udalov, executive director of the analysis company Autostat, noted that the share of Chinese producers will continue to grow, including by expanding the model range. According to him, currently Chinese brands in the Russian market mainly focus on SUV-class cars, but there are almost no Chinese models in the two segments of C-class cars and B-class cars. Sergei Tselkov, president of Autostat, said that Chinese brands partially offset the impact of the withdrawal of Western companies. The market is recovering, albeit very slowly. Global brand cars produced in China are also appearing in the Russian market, such as Volkswagen Bora, Mazda CX-4. In this way, the share of Chinese cars in the Russian market is actually larger. In my opinion, there will be more and more of these models on the Russian market, he said. In fact, China and Russia cooperate more closely in the field of automobiles than purely import and export. I still remember that in May, it was rumored that China's JAC would help Russia revive the Soviet-era Moskvich brand. Both sides remained silent, and the evidence soon became clear at the end of the year. First of all, the new cars from the revived Moskvich feature new, modern Chinese designs that bear little resemblance to Soviet-era classics. The last Moskvich model from the Moskvich 2 decades ago was a basic sedan or pedestrian hatchback, but the upcoming Moskvich 3 is a beefy-looking petrol-powered crossover hatchback with alloy wheels, LED slit headlights and a large central touchscreen display. Why is the evidence overwhelming? Because this car looks exactly like the Seahole X4 compact crossover, also known as the Jack JS4, made by JAC Motors in China. Sources say the Moskvich are using JAC's design, engineering and platforms, with parts delivered from China, and the vehicles shown at the launch show many stickers of Jianghuai Automobile, JAC, with part codes. But even if it was so obvious, the plant's project manager still didn't admit it and put it another way. We have Russian truck manufacturer, KAMAZ, as an external partner, and there is a remote partner who is working with it, but we did not name that partner. Another major technology partner, KAMAZ, also said in a statement that the first batch of Muscovite cars will roll off the production line in December 2022, which is indeed a bit familiar. While the first car did arrive as promised, only 600 cars are scheduled for production this year. Therefore, the new car is unlikely to change the gloomy outlook for the Russian auto industry. But the Russian government's ultimate goal is to produce 100,000 Muscovite cars a year, some of which will be electric, though that's far below the industry average of 200,000 to 300,000 cars produced by automakers. After all, Tesla's Shanghai plant can produce 22,000 cars per week. But it was truly a salvage and rebirth for the now collapsing Russian auto industry. Most recently, Moskva, the state-owned automaker, has agreed to supply 2,000 vehicles to Russian taxi company Citimobi next year, in what would be the first major deal to restore the car. The start of full-scale production of Moskvich will provide employment for approximately 40,000 people. The car will go on sale in Russia next month, but prices have yet to be announced. Russian President Vladimir Putin began to urge automakers to lower prices, which is actually a support and promotion for people to buy cars. In short, whether it becomes an external force to assist Russian brands or boost the sales of Chinese brands in Russia, Chinese auto brands are expected to gain more dividends in Russia. This is not surprising. In my opinion, this is the inevitable return of Chinese cars under the long-term layout. Those who can be saved must have the ability to save themselves, so Russia has started this difficult but resolute car-making operation. Resurrecting a 20-year-old car brand is a tribute to the golden age of the past, while choosing a reliable and strong anonymous partner is a profound understanding of the current landscape. Well, thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions, just leave them in the comments section. We'll come back as soon as possible and check them, and then we'll give feedback. See you next time.